The objective of this strategic plan is to identify several strategies that the Center of Wellness for Urban Women can utilize to effectively meet their organizational goals and continue to empower women until health disparities have been eliminated, and to remove barriers to achieving the vision to empower women and their families to become proactive in their health by improving the mind, body, and spirit through education, advocacy, care, and prevention. In order to assess the current state of the Center of Wellness for Urban Women, we developed a SWOT analysis to determine the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. The strengths of the Center of Wellness for Urban Women include an effective and proactive executive leader, a diversified and professional board of directors, mission-centered strategy and directives, and the application of programmatic best practices. The weaknesses include limited leadership and nonprofit experience within the board, limited time commitment by volunteers, and limited financial resources. The threats include limited financial resources, difficulty with marketing and branding, and limited constituency. The opportunities are having limited competition because of the unique approach and a large network of potential partners created by cooperative programming. The strengths of this organization begin with their leadership. Board-centered leadership states that a leader must facilitate board interaction, lead the board in envisioning change, provides useful and helpful information to the board, and promotes productivity. As a leader, Ms. Bayless also motivates others, promotes the institutional goals, and seeks opportunities for change. The Center of Wellness for Urban Women has a board with diverse expertise. This includes experience in accounting, business management, fiscal management, legal expertise, and marketing consultation. The board uses mission-centered strategies that focus on its vision, goals, core values, and roles. The board derives its goals from the National Community Center of Excellence in Women's Health model and focuses those goals to promote its 7 dimensions of wellness. These dimensions are physical, emotional, spiritual, environmental, intellectual, occupational, and social wellness. Currently, the capacity of the Center of Wellness for Urban Women's board is restricted due to limited leadership abilities, limited knowledge, and limited skills related to the nonprofit sector. In addition, the Center of Wellness for Urban Women's impact is limited due to lack of financial resources. The organization is disabled from paying the executive director and hiring support staff to carry out organizational oversight and implement vital programs. They have resorted to utilizing volunteers as staff, which creates further challenges. Volunteers have external commitments, which limit time commitments to the Center of Wellness for Urban Women. Also, volunteers have decreased from 15 to 8 in the last year. Since the Center of Wellness for Urban Women cannot always count on volunteers, the number of programs provided has been limited to 3 out of 7, which in turn stifles community impact. The greatest threats facing the Center of Wellness for Urban Women are competition for funding and a lack of individual donors. Typically, 80% of donors are individuals, but the Center of Wellness for Urban Women only has 4% individual donors. Indiana has 3,309,937 women. 14% are without health coverage, and only 20% report good health. Heart disease is the leading cause of death among women in Indiana, and 1/3 of new cases of cancer are breast cancer. Women in Indiana face serious health threats. Nearly 30% are overweight, 24% are smokers, and 40% are victims of violence. The Center of Wellness for Urban Women is the only holistic wellness organization providing wraparound services specifically to underserved women. It uses cooperative programming that connects women to a large network of potential partnering organizations. The board faces several issues. There are only 5 board members, there's no board president, and they use an antiquated top-down governance model. Currently, the Center of Wellness for Urban Women's philanthropic revenue and resources are very limited. The Center of Wellness for Urban Women is not able to provide salary for key staff, and limited manpower has resulted in inability to maintain vital programs. The Center of Wellness for Urban Women needs to cultivate donor relationships in order to adequately support the organization. Developing effective strategies to secure philanthropic revenue and resources will lead to organizational growth. Also, compensating the chief manager and hiring support staff will provide the Center of Wellness for Urban Women with an increase in leadership, organizational oversight, and programming implementation.
Marketing and branding was identified as a key issue because Center of Wellness for Urban Women needs to make sure that they are translating their mission clearly and concisely to diverse audiences. Currently, Center of Wellness for Urban Women has been effectively utilizing social media to market and brand their organization, but they need to expand and utilize other sources. Through expansion of marketing and branding, they can satisfy the needs and wants of their exchange partners or constituents. In addition, expanding marketing and branding can improve the organization's financial situation, increase donors, increase clients or members, and increase supporters, all because more people are aware of the organization and their mission. The reason why strategic facility planning was identified as an issue is because expansion of facility has become necessary and will become increasingly necessary as interest in the Center of Wellness for Urban Women's programs increases. Currently, Miss Mary's Wellness Garden, which is an education and prevention designed to combat food insecurity by teaching participants skills to grow their own food, has outgrown its current location. If the program is going to continue, they need to find new locations that can accommodate expansion to new areas within the community. To do so, they need both long-term and short-term funding. Currently, the garden is funded through grants, but more stable funding sources need to be secured. Fluid resources would remove the barriers to locating the right space for new gardens. However, while expansion is important, expanding to wrong areas would be a waste of time and effort. Instead, Center of Wellness for Urban Women should survey the market to find locations where they can have the greatest impact on the community. In order to address the key issues, board governance and management, resource development, marketing and branding, and facility planning, strategic plans have been devised. The first to be discussed is board governance and management. According to Levy 2010, the board of a nonprofit organization is the heart of an organization structured to serve through philanthropy. The board is a body of servants designated and designed to lead an organization in serving the public good. The board is one of the single most important elements in sustainability of a nonprofit organization and will make or break the future of that organization. Furthermore, RINS 2010 identified the following core functions of the board of directors: leading the organization, securing essential resources, ensuring effective resource use, leading and managing chief executive performance, engaging with constituents, ensuring and enabling accountability, and ensuring board effectiveness. The first board issue that needs to be addressed by the Center of Wellness for Urban Women is their board size. The center needs to increase the size of their board. In order to increase the size of the board, the Center of Wellness for Urban Women needs to develop a specific recruitment strategy. They need to develop a list of prospects who might have linkages to the organization, and seek individuals who have passion, abilities, personal qualities, interest, integrity, and competence. In addition, the executive director and present board members should approach potential prospects one-on-one. The next thing that the Center of Wellness for Urban Women needs to work on in relation to their board is fulfilling board roles. In order to fulfill board roles, the center needs to recruit and/or elect a board president. They also need to elect officers, making sure to include a fund development chair. In addition, they need to make sure that all of their board members are clear on their roles, relationships, and expectations. The Center of Wellness for Urban Women also needs to update their board governance model. It is suggested that the center employ a community engagement governance model where the responsibility for governance is shared across the organization, including the organization's key stakeholders. It is also suggested that the center develop committees and shared responsibilities. Potential committees include executive, finance, programming, fund development, marketing, advisory groups, and task forces. The final issue that the center needs to address is the board's lack of confidence. In order to enhance confidence, it is suggested that the center conduct professional development instruction on the duty of care, the duty of loyalty, and the duty of obedience. It is also important to impress responsibility for their organization, financial performance, relationship with the community, and for the legal entity. The next key issue to be addressed is resource development. For an organization to be successful, it is necessary that substantial attention is given to philanthropic support and fundraising. Fundraising is important to nonprofits because it generates essential income for charitable organizations such as the Center of Wellness for Urban Women. The foundation for philanthropic fundraising rests on interacting with donors from a supply-side perspective and taking a relationship-based approach to fundraising. Using a supply-side perspective and utilizing a relationship-based approach to fundraising, these next strategies put forth will enable of wellness for urban women to recruit and retain donors, determine what are appropriate fundraising vehicles, and strategically select grants. In order for the Center of Wellness for Urban Women to increase their philanthropic sustainability, it is suggested that they analyze their current fundraising environment and situation using the Relationship and Economic Profile Pyramid. According to Levy 2010, nonprofit organizations must build development programs that serve donors at all relationship levels and all giving levels. Utilizing the Relationship and Economic Profile Pyramid, the center can determine what their donor pyramid looks like. Determining what their donor pyramid looks like will enable the center to determine what types of fundraisers that they need to utilize based upon their current situation. Furthermore, by understanding their current fundraising profile, the center can avoid investing too many of their valuable resources in high-cost, low-return fundraising vehicles. It is also suggested that the center profiles their philanthropic revenue so that they can target giving. According to RINs, more than 80% of revenue charitable giving comes from individuals, and the remaining 20% comes from foundations and corporations. It is therefore necessary to determine what percentage of the center's philanthropic revenue falls in each of these categories. If the organization's individual giving is less than 80% of their revenue, then it is necessary for them to invest time in attracting individual donors. This can also be applied to foundations and corporations. If the center's foundation giving is less than 20% of their revenue, they might want to invest time there as well. It is also suggested that the center develops a case statement. A case statement is a collection of materials that explains why constituents should care if the organization exists, and conversely, why they should care if the organization shuts its doors and fails in its mission. The case statement is the core of all fundraising because it is the platform that provides alignment to the cause. An effective case statement should communicate to constituencies what impact the organization is making in the community. The case statement will also arm board members with core organizational material so that they can effectively advocate on the organization's behalf. In order to recruit donors, it is suggested that the center first identifies all constituents and potential prospects. Constituents are those individuals with linkage to the organization, interest in its cause, and the ability to contribute money, time, and other resources. According to 2010, ongoing constituency identification, evaluation, and cultivation will help organizations build a base of support while at the same time move constituents to a higher and more intimate relationship with the organization. It is also suggested that they conduct prospect research. It is very beneficial to know more about the people that the organization plans to solicit for donations. Knowing more about the people that the organization plans to solicit will enable the organization to build relationships and construct appropriate solicitation strategies. Additionally, it is suggested that the center invest in and conduct cultivation activities to improve donor retention. According to Levy 2010, once a donor gives, it is what happens next in stewardship and cultivation that determines their next gift. In order to make sure that they're selecting appropriate fundraising activities, it is first necessary that they plan fundraising using a gifts range chart that specifies the number of and size of gifts needed to reach fundraising goals. According to Renz 2010, the gift range chart undergirds fundraising planning. The planning gift chart, when compared with current patterns of voluntary contribution, helps nonprofit leaders understand the potential of the donor base and what the work that will be required to grow giving by comparing what is with what we want to achieve. In addition, it is also suggested that the center use the analysis of their donor pyramid and profile of philanthropic revenue to determine appropriate fundraising vehicles to be included in the fundraising plan. For example, if the organization finds that they have a small donor base, then they may want to utilize fundraising vehicles that build awareness, such as special events or direct mail. In regards to grants, it is suggested that the center strategically selects grants based upon whether they fit within the organization's. According to Levy 2010, grants are a valuable tool as long as they fit within the organization's mission and do not compromise time and volunteer resources. Furthermore, grant proposals require valuable resources such as time, and it is necessary to determine if the return will be worth the investment. According to the Fundraising School 2014, the reasonable cost guidelines for corporate and foundation grant seeking is 20 cents, meaning cents can be invested per every dollar available from the grant. Now that resource development has been addressed, it is necessary to address the key issue of marketing and branding. 2010, a marketing approach is based on the recognition that nonprofit organizations must be responsive to many different constituencies, understand the unique needs and wants of each, and take steps to create the tangible value that will form the basis of stable, sustainable, long-term exchange relationships. In order to address marketing, it is suggested that the center uses a strategic marketing approach. A strategic marketing approach will help the center improve their current marketing and branding. The first step in the strategic marketing approach is to divide the market into meaningful groups and decide which groups they choose to serve with specific markets. Next, they need to develop a for each market constituency that will dictate a unique strategy for each separate clientele. Then they need to use the tactical elements of the marketing mix to facilitate exchange relationships with its chosen targets by offering them better value alternatives. Along with the strategic marketing approach, it is suggested that the center utilize strategic communications. Strategic communications is a way for nonprofits to approach public outreach and media relations not as standalone activities, but rather as an integration of critical organizational functions, similar to fundraising or membership development. Strategic communications will be a building block to help with fundraising, advocacy, membership, recruitment, social networking, and supporting the overall purpose of the Center of Wellness for Urban Women. The final key issue to be addressed is strategic facility planning. In order for the Center of Wellness for Urban Women to secure more space, it is necessary that they first secure funding. They need short-term funding, long-term funding, and additionally, they also need expansion funding. In addition to securing funding for expansion, the center also needs to conduct a market analysis to determine where the program will have greatest impact. They can do this by using demographics and community leader input. In addition, they also need to determine interest in the programs to ensure participation from the community. Interest can be determined by surveying and interviewing members of the community. Then, the step is to actually secure space. The center can either purchase land within the community or with other organizations to gain access to space. Now that we have provided a SWOT analysis, discussed all identified key issues, and how to strategically address them, we would like to take a moment to thank the Center of Wellness for Urban Women for partnering with us for this project. We hope that through our strategic plan, we can help you further your mission of empowering women and their families living in urban communities to take an active role in improving their health and well-being through education, advocacy, care, and prevention.